Alrighty, guys. Well, first off, I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, since today is Thursday and it's Thanksgiving. I will finally be to the point where I know what day it is again, because yesterday was my last day of third shift and I rotate back to third, or rotate back to first, so hallelujah. And I have to admit, I did like third shift a whole lot better than second shift, because third shift was a whole lot easier to get stuff done, or get stuff around here done. But it'll be nice not to have my schedule so screwed up when you're working Thursday or Sunday to Thursday, and then your whole day off, and you got to sit there and think about what day it is, and yeah, it's just, yeah. But anyway, if you'll probably notice, the white's no longer here, and because it's over at a friend of our shop, so that I could work on it. Took it over there yesterday, got the front wheels, or got the tread width on the front wheels readjusted, got the rims set on the right bevel and everything, and all we got left to do there is we got to torque the front hubs back up, because we had to slide the hubs in like an inch or so to get where the front wheels and the back wheels are following in the same track. And then we have to go through, and I got all new bolts and heavy nuts to replace the lockjaw bolts on all the rims, because some of them are almost rusted in two. So got one more rim to replace those on, and then we got off to do all the duals yet, but that'll get done at a later date. But I got them wheels adjusted, which turned into almost a 4-hour job. The first rim one wasn't bad. The second one fought us the whole damn way, but it was also the one that for some reason was all rusty, and I don't know. But also got the chloride out of them. And for some damn reason that I won't fully understand, well, here. First we'll show you this. This is the amazing part. So this right here is the rim that was on it. Yeah. This was on the end. This was one of the main rims on it. It was on the back left-hand inner tire. And check out that bead, or check out what used to be a bead. It's just not a whole lot there. And the tire guy was here yesterday, or no, was here Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And he swapped out that rim and pulled the chloride out all 4 inner tires. Well, we're supposed to pull the chloride out of all 4 inner tires. We'll get to that in a second. So he says when he went to pull the tire off of that rim, there was chloride in it, so he went to unload it first, and he says he no more than touched the valve stem and it just pulled off, and chloride started blowing everywhere. So he scrambled and got his suction hose on there, and basically had to stand there and hold the hose to suck all the chloride out of it. And he says he finally got the tire dismounted, and this here is the tube out of it. If you'll notice, that tube's torn. He didn't do that. If you'll notice that, well, you probably can't see it, but that tear has been worn smooth. That thing was riding around with a blown tube, and it was just the chloride running on the rim, and the only thing sealing the chloride inside the tire was the fact that the tire was rusted to the rim, and the valve stem was rusted in the rim. So if you would have pulled the dual off and put any weight on that tire whatsoever, it probably would have blown and shot shit everywhere, and it would have been a bad day. So it's a really good thing we swapped rims on that side before we hauled it home, because it definitely would have blown going down the road, and that would have been me and chloride. It might have been hazmat. So yeah, and then he's supposed to pull chloride out all 4 tires, which he did, except for the fact that only 2 of the tires were fully loaded, and they were kitty corner from each other. The left rear and the right front were fully loaded, and then the left front and the right rear only had like 15 gallon in them, and neither one of them leaked. So I don't understand, but saved me some money and made the guy who was doing the tires a hell of a lot happier. So, and anyway, got all the rim, got pretty much, we're done shuffling the wheels around. Just got to replace the jaw bolts in that one and torque the hubs up on the front again. And then by the time I got that done, it was like pushing 10 o'clock, so we didn't really do much more except for I pulled the, these are the steering links out of it because I got to replace these. They call them bearings. They're not really a bushing. They're more like a ball joint type deal, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But got to press those out, and I got new ones to press back in. And hopefully that should take care, because there's not a whole lot of slop in that one, and there's not a whole lot of slop in that one. But if you add the slop between that one and that one, it makes a lot of slop. So I'm hoping that's where most of the jerk and the steer and the center pivot came from, although I'm going to do both main pins in it probably next summer, but I wanted to get these taken care of first, because on the whites, these are the common wear point. The main pins on these things are pretty bulletproof, but these steering pins are kind of the weak point in them, but they're also ungodly easy to change. All I had to do was put a bottle jack under the center pivot, put just the, I didn't even really have to jack the tractor up. I just put a little bit of pressure on it, and the pins just slid right out. It was actually kind of scary how easy those things came out of there. But like I say, I got to get those pulled out of there, or pressed out of there. So I'm gonna get one set up here real quick, and I'll be right back. Sorry, the shop might be a little dark because lighting in here kind of sucks, but let's see how bad this thing is. Of course, it's a 50-ton press, so it's not going to care. Oh, except I might want to pull the snap ring out first. That might be handy. I knew I was missing something. So, as it would turn out, once you get them snap rings out of there, them things kind of almost push right out. So, makes life a little easier to try to wrestle that thing around in the shop press. Except you got to get it past that damn grease groove. Yeah, we'll just go. They're junk anyway. Tappy tappy. That works too. I'll show you what they look like with the clean one, because those things are so nasty you can't really tell what they look like. Alright. Got them cleaned up, so. But this is what they look like when they're not all covered in grease. Like I say, they're basically just a ball and socket with a grease groove machined in them. And yeah, not a whole lot to it. Alright, little prick. There you go. And the nice thing about these arms is they're symmetrical. So there is no right, left, there is no forwards, backwards. So you can put either one on either side, it doesn't really matter. The only thing you can screw up is you can put them in upside down. You're supposed to put them in snap ring down so that the arm is sitting on the bearing, because these bearings only go through one way. And apparently somebody been in here jacking around with these things at some point before, because one of them was in upside down. Damn it. Not that it's too terrible of a big deal, but it can be done, so you just got to pay attention. And I'm still trying to figure out some of this stuff as I go, because I haven't ordered a service manual for this thing yet. So I'm basically learning how it goes together by tearing it apart. I need to get books ordered for it, but I didn't have much time for making phone calls over the last couple of weeks because I was still trying to finish up harvest, and now that that's done, I got time to start making phone calls again. And I also have not had any luck finding a Category 3 top link for it. And basically, for everybody that I've talked to has told me, is that the white Oliver style Category 3 top links with the claws on them for the quick attach hitch balls are basically non-existent. Because one guy we get a bunch of our parts from, I called him up. He says, yeah, I've only ever seen one, and it's on my Moline right now. It's like, oh, well, that's good news. So, I'm either going to have to find a new generation white top link, which still sounds like it's going to be just as hard because they don't come up for sale by themselves that often. Or I'm just going to have to go out and buy a generic brand new Cat 3 top link, which, I mean, isn't going to kill me a whole lot because this tractor will not be staying without a, or will not be used without a quick hitch. Because I can only imagine trying to hook this thing up to a 3-point ripper, especially that, or to a 3-point implement, especially that ripper. Without a quick hitch, it would be a royal pain in the rear. So I gotta get a quick hitch bought for it. Actually, I need to find more than one, because I want to get one for my 1955 and the 1950T too, but you're talking probably between all three like $1,000 for the quick hitches, so one at a time. And the white's more important at this point, because I can hook the 55 and the T up to something without a quick hitch. This one, probably a two-man job, because you can't run any of the controls from down on the ground like you can on a regular farm tractor. Alright, that's a little bit of a burr turned up on it. Interesting. Really? I don't feel nothing. I have to clean that hole up just a skish real quick. Okay, I kissed it with a flapper wheel to see if I can't see if there was a burr turned up on it or something. Hopefully that took care. Oh yeah, there we go. Kinda. Alright, you damn dirty prick. Them damn bushings are so hard it's not leaving a mark as to where it's getting stuck. Aha! Now, go in the rest of the way. Got it. Okay, there's that. Like I say, it's really kind of hard to put these things in the wrong way, except for the fact that the side with the snap ring has to go down so that that face is facing up, so that the arms are sitting on the bearing instead of pulling on the snap ring. And somehow they managed to screw that up, because this one was in the right way and that one was in the wrong way. So I laid them down and marked them on the floor the same way I took them out to put them back in the same way. Well, it turns out those are wrong, because I pulled all, after I marked them, I pulled the there's foam, big foam donuts that go over here to keep dirt and shit out, and I pulled those off and saw this, and it's like, well, shit, they put that one in upside down. So there's those done. That was way too damn easy. And those are junk. Like I say, they've got slop in them. None of them are overly sloppy on their own, but you add them all up. And then there was actually one that was frozen, so. But anywho, on to the next project. Alright, well, next thing I gotta do is we're updating this thing to the connect under pressure Pioneer couplers that we use. And to put those on there, I need to make a custom bracket. Basically all we do is take a piece of bar stock and make a new bracket to slide over the original formed coupler mount, and then sandwich the two couplers on either side of this bar stock. And yeah, you'll see it when we go to put it together. But anyway, I'm all set up here, so What is, oh, what? Why?
Does he have one?
What is it? Okay, so I got all my holes punched in it. And next thing I gotta do is cut my slide in here for it to slide over the bracket. And you just pinch it with a bolt. So I got a handy dandy shell cutter here, and we're gonna get that done real quick. I hate trying to start these things because they shatter like, or chatter like a son of a bitch. Huh, this one actually wasn't that bad. I gotta do this in 2 passes. I gotta do about double the width of the cutter to get over the bracket. I gotta cut this notch, then move up half the width and cut another one. When you do this, you almost got to do it after you drill the hole. Otherwise, if you try to go through and drill the hole after you do it, the material's not strong enough to back itself up, and it'll collapse when you're trying to drive the bit through. But when you go through after you drill the hole and use a shell cutter, you got to be careful the angle you're coming in on the sidewall here, because that sidewall is only paper thin. And you don't want that thing to try to take too big of a bite out of that little paper thin sidewall. You'll bust a tooth off the cutter. So that's why I went way over with the cutter to try to get it right on the tip. Move around to the other side. You don't really want to try to climb mill with them either, especially on an older mill like this. Oop, shit, otherwise that happens. That's the one problem you run into on these older mills like this. This one's actually still fairly tight, and I say fairly, it's got some slop in it, but especially if you get them out of a tool, something like a tool and die shop where they got the shit used out of them. screws get loose in them, and then if you try to do climb milling like this, it'll bind the tables up and it'll try to take a big bite like that and it'll lock the tool up, or worse. Okay, now centered back up here. And we got to move up. We're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 85. Should put me right about half the width of the tool, a little less because I want to have a little bit overlap. This is just cutting and tapping fluid. Normally we don't use that with drills because it's just way too damn sticky, but for stuff like this it works good. And especially if you're tapping. I guess to clarify some terminology, when I was talking about climb milling, you got, what I'm doing right now is plunge milling, which basically the tool's rotating into the cut and it's biting and it's pulling out. Which is what is the safe bet to do on these older mills. When you're climb milling, the tool is rotating away from the cut, coming into the part, and then trying to pull on the part to pull the chip out. And it'll, like what it did there, it'll try to climb out of the part. Which is why they call it climb milling. And if you approach it right, climb milling's not that big of a deal, but especially if you got an aggressive tool like this, it's kind of hard to judge what approaching it right is. And that's that. Most handiest tool you could ever have on a farm is a mill right there. Actually, I guess the more appropriate, correct way to say that would be the handiest tool you could have on a farm. Provided you take the time to learn how to use it. Otherwise, it's basically just a glorified drill press. But once you know how to use it, oh my god, the things you can build. I guess I'll look over here so that you're not just looking at a blank spot. Hell. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these couplers put together so that they're ready to go on that bracket when the paint dries. And I guess this would be a good time to answer the questions that everybody's been asking. These are Pioneer 9500 series couplers. 9500-4s to be exact. And they are actually very hard to find, surprisingly. So the very first set we ever found was at TSC. And we bought that, and we put it, I think my 66 was the first one to ever get a set of these. And basically, what they allow you to do is these levers shut the valve off, and then they pull the check valve open and close manually. So what that allows you to do is connect hoses under pressure. Basically, you get the hose shoved in as far as it'll go, and then you turn the lever and it'll grab a hold of it and basically pull the coupler in, and allows you to connect under pressure, which with the Olivers, the way the load holding valves are set up, you almost need to have these on there, because if you're going to hook an implement up or something and you accidentally bump your hydraulic lever with your knee or something, you're going to be sitting there for a half hour waiting for the pressure to bleed down before you can hook anything up, or you're going to be in there with a punch pushing the check valves back in, and you should try to get the pressure bled off so you can hook shit up, and it's just, these things are freaking awesome, as long story short. But like I say, the first time we found it was at TSC. We got that set to put on my 66. And then first thing Dad did, because Pioneer's owned by Parker Hannafin, is Dad went to his Parker dealer with the part number and said, hey, can I order these in bulk? And they looked and looked and looked, and even the Parker dealer could not find these in their book. So basically what we had to do was anytime TSC got an order in, we bought them up. And we basically just been doing one tractor at a time. And finally, a few months ago, Dad's Parker dealer was finally able to find these, things through Pioneer, and Dad finally ordered a bunch of them through his dealer. But I know TSC still carries them. We've had friends of ours sign them with Big R, and I think Family Farm and Home, which I don't think there's actually any of those around here, but we've got Big R, we've got TSC. Haven't ever found any at Rural King. So it's basically, for the most part, just been TSC and Big R where we've found them in stores. And TSCs are hit and miss. Some of them carry them, some of them don't. But if you want to get a set, basically you got to find a place that carries Parker, and you got to give them a Pioneer part number 9500-4, and pray like hell that the guy at the parts counter knows what he's doing and can find them. Because like I say, it took Dad's dealer forever to figure out what the hell they were. So, anyway, I'm going to get them put together. And basically what I got to do is, and I'm actually going to put them all the way together, because the only downside of these things is the way the bracket works. You have to pull the couplers off, thread the hose into them, and then stick the coupler back in the bracket, because the bracket locks them in there and keeps it from turning. And I actually think what I'm going to do on this one is put swivels on the back so that I don't have to do that, but we'll see. So, anyway, oops. And those are no good if we don't use them. But that's really the only downside of these, is the way the bracket works. But once you get it all put together, it's actually really sweet, because this bracket is stout as hell. It's cast aluminum, really strong. If you break it, you stop and take a picture because you accomplished something. Okay, so got them put together, and as you can see, they don't match. Reason being, the way these things are made, and with the chintzy bracket they give you, they're made to be mounted flat like that. Well, on the Olivers, and if you want to mount it that way, it's fine, but the way we mount them, that makes them a whole lot cleaner, is we make that bracket, and then we mount them sandwiched together like that on one bracket, instead of these two floppy things that have them hanging way out too far behind the tractor and whatnot. But you have to mount them 180 degrees from each other so that the levers swing away from each other and you don't have any clearance issues. So you have to take these covers, and that's the other sweet thing about these, is they got spring-load covers on there, keeps all the shit out of them. But you have to mount these things 180 from each other, which puts the caps kitty corner from each other, which, because I'm OCD, bugs the shit out of me. Plus, they say lift and drop and lift and drop, and if you ever have somebody running the tractor that didn't know you did this, they could be hooking stuff up backwards, because, again, on the Olivers, the way the load holding is set up and the way the flow restrictors are set up, you can hook the hydraulic hoses up backwards. And if you're ever lowering an implement and you have trouble, or if you have trouble with it being real jerky, it's because you got the hydraulic hoses backwards, and you've got the flow restrictor on the raised side, and it's doing goofy things with the hydraulic pressure. So if you flip the hoses over, it'll probably take care of the issue. But anyway, so I go through and flip these caps around, which is real easy, just to make everything match up. So what you got to do is find the one side that's got the right there. pull the pin out, or try to anyway, if you can get a hold of it. Careful not to lose the springs, and keep track of the way the springs go in. Because the first time I did this, I put the springs back in backwards and could not figure out for the life of me why the doors wouldn't stay shut. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, now you got that. You go like so. Oops. And basically the only thing capturing this pin in is they got that groove cut in it, and one of the springs rests in there so that it traps that pin. Took me forever to figure out how these things came apart the first time. Shit. And there you go. And then I also take the, because I'm OCD, I take the rubber sleeves off the handles and flip them around so that they match. Again, all this part's completely unnecessary, but it annoys the hell out of me when the colors don't match, so. So, anyway. Now, everything's all nice and matching up. So anyway, I guess that basically does it for today, because we got Thanksgiving coming up here in a little bit, so, and I'm freaking hungry. But you never eat lunch on Thanksgiving because you want to leave room for dinner, so I'm just going to deal with the hungry for a while and eat more than my fill at dinner. So anyway, that does it for this one, and you guys have a good holiday, and we will see you tomorrow over at the shop working on the white. So take her easy, guys.